What's going on, San Antonio Spurs fans, and welcome back to another Pounding the Rock film study, where today we'll be breaking down Dejounte Murray and what has perhaps been the best two-game stretch of his young career. The 24-year-old floor general dropped a 25-point double-double on the Washington Wizards, in which he recorded the second most rebounds by a guard in Spurs history, and followed that performance up with a 22-point triple-double against the Miami Heat. So let's jump into the tape and figure out why he's been so successful and how he can improve. On the first play we'll examine, Dejounte Murray takes the ball down the court and hits Keldon Johnson perfectly in stride for an and one. And while he isn't a guy who passes his teammates open quite like a Chris Paul, Luka Doncic, or Trae Young, Dejounte does an excellent job of executing the play in front of him and making the right read, which results in a three-point play opportunity for the Spurs here. Nothing too advanced here. Dejounte swings the ball to Lonnie, who swings it right back and then attacks the heart of the defense, commanding just enough of Dragic's attention to afford Patty Mills a chance to sneak away for this wide open triple. Let's take a little bit of a deeper look at this next play and pause it right around here. As you can see, Duncan Robinson is totally off balance and out of position to guard Lonnie Walker, and there's a few things I would have liked to see out of Dejounte or Lonnie here. First, Lonnie should probably have the awareness to make a cut to the basket for an uncovered dunk or layup, but doesn't. Second, Dejounte probably has the time and space to make a cross-court skip pass to Lonnie in the opposite short corner, but as we unpause, probes the defense and hits Lonnie in his shooting pocket for a trifecta, which is a more than optimal end result. Like I mentioned earlier, Dejounte Murray isn't a world-class passer, so let's pause it. This Devin Vassell back screen is clearly designed to get Jakob Poeltl free for an alley-oop, but with his limited vertical pop and relatively short runway, Murray is going to have to throw a flawless lob. And as we unpause, the execution is iffy and the pass is way off target, leading to a Spurs turnover. One of the things that's really impressed me this season is Dejounte's finishing, particularly his touch on floaters. Watch as he finds nothing but net on this beautiful teardrop despite Jimmy Butler's hand in his face. Although Dejounte isn't a top-tier NBA facilitator, he's become an especially dangerous playmaker in transition, finding Keldon Johnson with a precisely placed bounce pass. And let's take another look at that. Just a gorgeous feed from the fourth-year guard. Here's an area I want to see Dejounte improve in. He knocks down this corner three, but for the season is only shooting 32.9% on his catch-and-shoot opportunities from long range. The defensive end of the ball is where Dejounte truly shines, and he absolutely suffocates Kendrick Nunn on this drive, taking away every angle to the basket and forcing Nunn to pick up his dribble early, eventually poking the ball away, which leads to a pair of fast break points for Devin Vassell off another superb bounce pass. Once again, we see Dejounte poke away the ball in a dribble handoff early in the fourth quarter, but then he sort of bails out Miami, committing a cheap reach-in foul with only 4 seconds left on the shot clock, giving them a chance to reset their offense on the sidelines rather than forcing them into a desperation look to avoid a shot clock violation. The ingenuity from Dejounte on this play isn't so apparent on the first run through, so let's take another look at it from a different angle. As you can see, it's this nifty little look off from Murray that gives Vassell enough space to knock down a three from his sweet spot and head to the line for a 4-point play. Murray has also become incredibly adept at snaking through the D out of the pick and roll and getting to the nail where he can fire off a pretty mid-range jumper. And his self-creation ability has grown 1,000-fold since entering the league, generating space with his body and rising up for a baseline floater right outside of the paint. Dejounte shows off his improved finishing with an and one against Bam Adebayo, one of the most switchable bigs in the league, and his strides in this area can't be overstated as he's converted 61% of his shots at the rim this season, better than DeMar DeRozan, Paul George, and Julius Randle, and a nearly 6% increase from a year ago. Let's flip to the Wizards game and pause right around here. Most players wouldn't hesitate from beyond the arc with as wide open as Dejounte Murray is on this possession, but struggling from long distance has probably made him think twice about letting it fly. And as we roll the tape, Murray dribbles into traffic for an unnecessarily difficult floater that nonetheless tickles the twine. I'm not sure if we've seen it yet, but here's Murray using his go-to move, hitting former Spur Davis Bertans with a vicious right-to-left crossover before nailing another midi. Let's play another round of Will He Shoot It and freeze the tape right about here. Although Anthony Gill has zero shot to reach Dejounte before he releases the ball, Murray probably subconsciously knows he's a below-average three-point shooter, and as we unpause, once again decides to drive into a crowd, this time for an even higher degree of difficulty floater off the glass that still finds its way into the bucket. As we continue to see, Dejounte loves his floater and does an outstanding job of staying under control on this drive to avoid picking up a charge with Gill standing his ground. Dejounte has learned how to score out of the pick and roll, but is still figuring out how to distribute out of that set, which is why this bounce pass to Gorgui Dieng is so encouraging. And as we look at it from another angle, you can see him thread the needle between two defenders and lead Dieng to the hoop. What I love most from Dejounte is his undying effort, and he's the first one to the rebound after Keldon's miss, calmly finding a cutting DeMar amid the chaos and then continuing to fight for extra possessions, coming up with an offensive board over the taller Bertans and retreating to his sweet spot for a mid-range J. Again, here's Dejounte out-hustling 4 Wizards in Drew Eubanks for a putback jam in transition, and these are the sort of extra effort plays that contribute to winning. How about we take another look at Dejounte's crunch time defense? He smothers Bradley Beal and doesn't give him an inch of wiggle room, forcing a miss at the rim. Of course, Beal gets a second chance opportunity but blows the putback and the Spurs are headed the other way. And here's Murray snaking through the pick and roll coverage and splashing a mid-range jumper right in Alex Len's grill. And Dejounte has been the 17th most efficient high-volume shooter from that zone this season. Dejounte rarely forces the action, letting plays develop and trusting his teammates, even confidently swinging the ball to Patty Mills down the stretch of a tight contest despite his extended cold streak from beyond the arc since April began. Before we hop back into the tape, a lot has been made about DeMar DeRozan's clutch gene recently, and that's 100% fair considering the 4-time All-Star ranked second in the NBA in clutch points scored this season, but it's easy to forget just how good Dejounte has been in that regard as well. Though Murray sits in 43rd place in that category, his eye-popping 53.8% crunch time field goal percentage ranks 8th in the NBA. And as we roll the film, it's clear Dejounte isn't afraid of the bright lights associated with big moments, taking a pass from DeRozan and attacking the teeth of the defense for a floater to tie the game with just over a minute left in regulation. In overtime, Dejounte wasn't afraid to take charge of the scoring responsibilities while DeMar took a back seat, showing his composure and calmly working his way to the paint to get off a jumper from his favorite zone. Offense is only half the equation, and Dejounte is an all-NBA defender, coming in clutch to break up this dribble handoff between two All-Stars. I'm not sure if Dejounte Murray's incredible stat-stuffing production is going to be sustainable for the rest of the season, but the Spurs will definitely need him to continue playing top-notch basketball now that Derrick White is on the shelf with a serious ankle sprain. But as always, thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification button if we want to know when the next videos are dropping. And until next time, take care, Spurs fans.